mynews.studio.
Smoke is rising again along the Cambodia-Thailand border. Airstrikes, a failed ceasefire, and U.S. deals are sending ripples across continents. But what actually connects these events?
Today's date is 2025-12/16. Let's dig into what's happening at the Cambodia-Thailand border. Just last week, the Royal Thai Air Force carried out airstrikes that killed 9 Cambodian civilians and injured 20 more. Why did things escalate so suddenly?
This is an old dispute over territory, but the immediate trigger was accusations of cross-border smuggling. After those airstrikes, fighting broke out on the ground. Thai soldiers and more civilians were killed. There was a temporary ceasefire, brokered by President Trump, but it lasted less than a day. Thai leadership then announced plans for further military action. But how did the U.S. get involved so quickly?
Trump's administration stepped in as a mediator, but honestly, the ceasefire was more symbolic than anything else. We've seen the U.S. try to broker these deals before and see them fall apart. Are we seeing that same pattern in other conflicts?
Yes, Yemen is a clear parallel. The Southern Transitional Council, which is indirectly backed by U.S. military aid and Saudi support, has gained ground in the south. That's shifted the balance of power, but it's civilians who are most affected. Humanitarian groups are warning of worsening conditions. The U.S. is backing one side, but the result seems to be more instability. Is U.S. involvement helping at all, or is it just making things worse?
That's a fair question. Let's look at Honduras. After Trump's recent string of pardons, opposition parties claimed the election was rigged. Protests erupted, and international observers called for investigations. Here, the U.S. role is even more direct. Pardons for political allies, accusations of interference, and questions about the legitimacy of the process. Do you see a common thread tying these situations together?
There's a pattern. U.S. involvement is shaping these unstable regions. Whether it's failed ceasefires in Southeast Asia, arms shipments in Yemen, or political moves in Central America, the U.S. seems to be a key player. But what does that mean for people living through these crises?
According to Reuters, families in Cambodia are leaving their homes. In Yemen, fighting has stopped aid convoys. And in Honduras, protesters are clashing with police over alleged electoral fraud. These aren't just isolated incidents. They're connected by outside influence and the precarious balance of power.
And if you look at the media coverage, outlets like Al Jazeera and AP have analysts pointing out that even when the U.S. aims to stabilize, the result is often more volatility. Is there a way for the U.S. to support peace without fueling more conflict?
That's really the heart of it. The U.S. has a lot of leverage: military, economic, diplomatic. But every move can set off pushback. Trump's approach is very deal-oriented. But what actually happens when those deals collapse?
We end up with more escalation. Ceasefires fall apart, elections get contested, and it's civilians who suffer the consequences. So, is the lesson that outside intervention always backfires? Or is the real issue how these interventions are carried out?
Maybe a bit of both. The intention might be stability, but the result is often chaos. Is it even possible to manage these global flashpoints without heavy-handed intervention?
Or do we need to rethink the model entirely, putting local voices at the center, with outside powers supporting rather than directing? That's the challenge U.S. foreign policy faces now.
So to recap, violence escalating at the Cambodia-Thailand border, U.S.-backed shifts in Yemen, and political turmoil in Honduras all share something in common: outside intervention, fragile agreements, and unpredictable consequences for ordinary people.
These aren't just separate stories. They're all part of a bigger narrative about power, influence, and instability. Thanks for joining us as we tried to connect the dots.
Thank you for tuning in. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now free of charge.